My sister hijacked my wedding with a joke about sleeping with my husband, and I finally understand why. You know that moment in a dream when you realize something's wrong but you can't stop it? That was my wedding toast. My sister, maid of honor, best friend, my person stood up in front of 100 people and said she once hooked up with my husband in college. And she said it with a goddamn laugh. It wasn't just a bomb. It was a targeted missile. Right into the center of everything I had carefully, painstakingly protected for years. You probably read her post. The one where she's crying about how she didn't mean it, that it was just a joke, that she thought we were past it. What she didn't tell you? She asked me, twice during the planning process, if she could mention that hookup in her speech. And I told her, clearly and directly, no, absolutely not. Not because I was ashamed. Luke and I had worked through it years ago. He told me the truth before we ever got serious. I was hurt at first, of course, but it was a nothing fling, and it happened before we were a couple. But our parents, Luke's family, they don't believe in before. They believe in purity. They believe in women being untouched, in relationships being sacred from the start. So I lied. We both did. We told them we didn't move in together until after we were engaged. We said we waited. We put on the show, did the song and dance, not because we were ashamed of our love, but because we didn't want our relationship picked apart by people who judge more than they love. And my sister knew that. She knew how much pressure I was under to make everything acceptable for both families. How Luke's mom had already raised her eyebrows at me wearing a sleeveless gown. How Dad pulled me aside the night before the wedding to ask if I was still walking in God's light. She knew all of it, and she still opened her mouth. I watched Luke's face drain of color. I saw my mom's hands tremble in her lap. I saw his grandmother cross herself. I knew in one breath that the honeymoon we hadn't even taken yet was dead in the water. But I didn't make a scene. I held it together. I smiled through gritted teeth and danced until midnight and pretended everything was fine. And then I didn't speak to my sister for a month. She thinks I'm mad about the hookup. I'm not. I'm mad because that toast wasn't a joke. It was revenge. It was a reminder that she had him first, that in her own twisted little way, she could still take something from me, even on my wedding day. You don't just casually blurt out, "I slept with the groom once," in front of his 80-year-old Baptist grandmother unless you're trying to make a point. She called it a mistake. I call it a spotlight grab. One last chance to center herself in a story that wasn't about her. And now here's the part I haven't told anyone, because maybe I'm still processing it myself. Luke knew she might do it. He told me a week before the wedding that he was nervous about her speech. He said she'd hinted about telling funny stories from college and asked if I wanted to screen it first. I told him no because I trusted her, because she was my sister, and because deep down I was still that kid who wanted her approval. I don't know where we go from here. She asked to meet up again, said she wants to make things right, said she'd do anything. But what do you do with someone who's sorry, only after the damage is done? What do you say to a sister who smiled at you in a dressing room, zipped up your gown, and then set fire to your whole life before the cake was even cut? Some things don't get fixed with apologies. Sometimes family doesn't mean forever. Sometimes it's just blood, and sometimes that's not enough.